There's a problem with the iPhone 10 that not many people are talking about, and that's that I thought it would be a massive flop, but I was wrong. It's a great phone. Yes, the title is a little clickbaity, but I really do think there was a perception problem with this phone, and I don't think that's necessarily down to the advertising. I just think that this phone is something that's very hard to imagine actually using if you haven't held it in your hand and used it. It's hard to imagine the functionality. So today, we're gonna go through all the ways I was wrong about the iPhone 10. So this phone, it doesn't have a headphone jack, but I can confirm that it doesn't matter. See, this phone comes with a pretty good pair of Lightning headphones. They've done me well for as long as I've had them. I run with them twice a day and they've lasted pretty fine for me. It comes with a pretty capable dongle. While it is inconvenient, it does allow you to use whatever headphones you want, plug into any aux cord you want. To be quite honest, I've never really had an issue thus far. It's been fine. It's really not an issue. I did also make a criticism in my original video criticizing the iPhone 10. I said that because they've taken away the headphone jack, that should mean they could be able to waterproof the phone more than they have. In all of my experience with the phone, I have never had a problem with water damage. I've got it wet, I've taken it in the shower, I've never had an issue. So as long as you don't crack your screen and it gets into the actual phone itself, you're fine. Don't even worry about the water damage. The whole headphone thing, as inconvenient as it is, it really doesn't matter. So I used to be quite annoyed that this phone didn't come with USB-C. For the last 6 months, being quite honest, the only thing I've used this front port for is to plug in my headphones and listen to music. I haven't had to use the plug for any kind of charging capabilities, and so I don't really care if it's Lightning or USB-C. And the reason for that is a very underrated feature, by the way, and that is wireless charging. I love wireless charging. I thought I would have absolutely no use for it. I thought it was like, yeah, whatever, it's just a feature they've thrown in, blah, 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 it's a gimmick. But my girlfriend pre-ordered the Galaxy S9. That came with a wireless charge, and she was like, I don't, whatever. So she gave it to me, and I now have it, and I love it. Just being able to just plop your phone down is so much easier, especially at night. You're going to bed, you plop it down, and these wired chargers, after time, they get broken, the connection starts to, and you have to like plug it in all these different ways. You have to turn it upside down. It's horrible. I hate it. I hate it. Wireless charging is just so much better, and it's gonna clearly last so much longer. It's so much easier. It's so much more convenient. I love wireless charging. And look, if I had AirPods, oh, please, AirPods, then I honestly wouldn't use the port at all. Yeah, it would be great if it was USB-C. It would be a bit more convenient. The port is not really a big concern for me at this point, and I don't think it will be, certainly not in the next few years with these smartphones coming out with wireless headphones, wireless charging. It's gonna become less and less of a necessity to have the right port, USB-C or Lightning. Eventually there'll be no port. Let's just face that fact. When you go to unlock this phone, unlike previous phones, you swipe up from the bottom, you don't press a button. And I, and a lot of other people, thought this was weird and clearly not as good as a button. When you're doing it every day, swiping up is so much more natural. I prefer it way more than using a button. Whenever I go back to using, like borrowing someone else's phone and I press the button, it's always, there's less flow, it's less smooth, it's less natural. It's hard to explain without using it, but the swipe is so much more natural. It flows better, it's smoother. Quite honestly, I don't miss the home button whatsoever. Speaking of the home button, or lack thereof, they also took away Touch ID to replace it with Face ID. I love Face ID. It's way better than Touch ID. If I had like sweaty fingers, my phone wouldn't open. But now with Face ID, I can be wearing sunglasses and a beanie and my phone will still unlock first try. It's really, really secure, it's very consistent, and at this point I'm happy for it to completely replace Touch ID. In a few generations down the line, maybe they put a fingerprint under the screen, but quite honestly I would probably end up just using the Face ID anyway, so I'm all in for Face ID. I just am. They proved me wrong once again. Ah yes, the notch. Probably the most roasted feature of this phone and the most talked about little guy on this entire little product. I mean, the notch is so insignificant on this phone. You forget about it after like a day of using this phone. It fits into the UI perfectly. It was a big media hysteria, media hype thing. It doesn't make any difference to the phone, quite honestly. It's nice to have the bezels so small everywhere else. And when it comes to the notch, I mean, they've got to put the camera somewhere. It's nice to have the little information of the carrier and the battery and the top, and if you need more, you can just swipe down from the right. I don't think it's been an issue to many people who've used this phone. I just think it was a big funny meme to make when the phone came out. So notch or no notch, it doesn't really matter to me. I think it was the best decision for them to make. The screen, oh boy, the screen on this phone is just, mwah. That OLED, the blacks, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. It's big, it's bright. I use dark mode on so many apps because I just love dark mode on this phone. It looks so cool, and the deep blacks are amazing. The other thing I'll say about the screen, I do like the rounded corners. When I made my initial criticism of this phone, I thought that they should square off the screen like they've done with all their other screens, but I really like the rounded corners. It makes it feel sleek, modern, futuristic. It's a nice design having the rounded corners on the screen. It's a big screen, which I really like. It's just very functional, very useful, and the screen gets a big thumbs up from me. It's bright as well, big, bright. I love it. Now, on the topic of the screen, one little mini controversy with this phone has been the fact that the front and back are both all glass. And yes, that's to accommodate for the wireless charging, but it is danger and worry for someone coming to this phone like, oh my God, is this gonna just break if I flick it? But consider this, my buddy Connor's had it since it came out pretty much, and he has never used a case on it or a screen protector, and his is still in lovely, fine condition. I am a bit more clumsy than he is, so I decided to buy an OtterBox. I've had a screen protector on it since I had it. I've dropped it a few times. The screen protector has a few scuffs and cracks here and there, but $15 later, I buy a new one on Amazon. It's all sorted. Replaced the old screen protector that was scuffed up a bit. Still a beautiful, uncracked, nice screen. Paying $15 per crack, in my opinion, is a lot easier and nicer than paying the Apple price to get it repaired, or even the Apple Care price is still pretty high if you ask me. So $15, it's worth it to keep this phone safe, but at the same time, if you're not clumsy, you'll be fine as well. So the durability aspect is something to be conscious of, but it's really not much of an issue. It's gonna be quite obvious, this thing is fast. It is a beast when it comes to loading apps. I've never felt, quite honestly, using it like it was running slow or like anything was throttling the device. The only time I can think of using this phone that it's ever slow is when it's at 1%, obviously because it's at 1%, so it's gonna run slow. On the topic of battery life as well, it's actually got really good battery. It usually lasts pretty much a full day. I get to the end of the day, I'm still using it. Doesn't die on me until, you know, I go to bed and I lay it down on my wireless charger, and it's so useful and functional and amazing. The camera on all the new iPhones are always pretty decent and competent. This one's actually quite good. I really do like the double lens, being able to zoom in. It's a small touch, but it's nice. On that topic, even though it does get eclipsed by the Pixel 2, yes, the Pixel 2 takes better photos. What's really nice about this camera is that it's a good all-in-one, good photo, good video. For example, the Pixel 2 has a terrible video microphone, whereas this phone is gonna do you great in all circumstances. It's a really good all-rounder, probably the best all-round, pretty good in just about every category that you can get on the market. Now, to wrap things up, I wanna bring up the fact that in my last video, I suggested that Apple's old slogan of think different should be set aside for now. They should really be thinking like everyone else when it comes to their new phones, to not make any kind of design mishaps. I can't stress this enough. I was wrong. I'm an idiot. Apple knows better than I do. Apple doesn't copy their competitors. Well, not all the time. Apple is the company that everyone is trying to copy. That is their style, that's their thing, that's what they need to be doing. And it's not up to me or any of the other naysayers or people who doubted this phone to tell them to do their phone differently. They need to set trends and do things crazy and different, and people aren't gonna get it. I didn't get it at first. Now I've been using it for nearly a year and I love it and I get it and I enjoy the phone. It's my favorite iPhone that I've had. It's gonna last me longer than my other iPhones have. I really think it's a great phone. Can't stress enough how much of a goof I made by saying it was gonna be a flop. I was wrong. It's a great phone. I love it. And Apple, keep doing your thing. That's really not to say I don't have problems with some of the things Apple are doing. I do think there are legitimate things to criticize them on, and there are even problems with the iPhone 10, but generally, I do think at the very least, it's fair to say, when it comes to at least their phones, they consistently knock it out of the park. That's my thoughts. I'm a bit of a Apple sheep, I'll admit it, I am, but that's the video done. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think, subscribe and a comment, and check out all these links. Always appreciate you popping by, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day, night, morning, whatever. Goodbye.